Lent is the season where Christian people kind of reset the compass of their discipleship and think about, so what does it mean for me to be a follower of Jesus Christ? And this little book that I've written for Lent is called The Things He Did. And it's looking very much at the story of Holy Week up until Good Friday. And I'm aware, indeed I've written some of them, that many of the Holy Week books kind of start with looking at the Passion of Jesus Christ. This book finishes at that point. In fact, I'm quoting from memory here. I think the final sentence of the book is something like, there was one more thing that Jesus had to do, and that one more thing was his death on the cross. So this book explores all that leads up to the cross during Holy Week itself. And I hope, therefore, it's a book that takes a slightly different but in-depth look at the Holy Week narratives and will enable you to really get inside that story yourself. The book is a kind of imaginative retelling of the story. So it's not so much a book about the events of Holy Week. It might even be a little bit like reading a novel that tells you the story of Holy Week, obviously from a perspective, my perspective, but also informed by Christian tradition and current thinking about the scriptures. And many biblical commentators make the point that the way to understand Jesus' ministry is through the things he did, not necessarily through the things he said. He did say things, but many of the things that Jesus said are kind of commentaries on the things he did. Jesus taught in parables, but in a kind of way he lived in parables. Many of the things he did are like acted parables. And the events of Holy Week show this more than anything else. So he comes into Jerusalem riding on a donkey. This is quite a deliberate and provocative act, declaring that yes, he is the Messiah coming into Jerusalem. He overturns the tables of the money changers. He's saying, you don't need the temple anymore. I am the place where you worship. He washes his disciples' feet. He shows that he is not going to be a leader like people imagine leaders to be. He breaks bread and wine with his disciples. He gives them a new Passover meal and a way of understanding what his death will mean. So these events of Holy Week that we're going to explore together, they get inside the story and they begin to show us who Jesus is and what his passion, death and resurrection will mean.